got an interview now with James Griffiths, who's a prop maker on TV.
It's an absolute pleasure to welcome onto the Business Bunker show for the very first time Mr. James Griffiths. James is known as the prop maker. James, good afternoon. Welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to see you.
Hello, thank you very much. Yeah, it's quite a surprise to be on here, actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, we'll tell the listeners what happened. You were talking to my co-host, Jules, and as it happened, Jules is supposed to be part of this call, but she's just messaged me to say she's still at the hairdresser's. Now that isn't a problem that bothers me, but it obviously bothers her, so she's not here. But anyway, we first came across you on Twitter.
That's right, yeah.
And you were posting some pictures and stuff of the work that you were doing. And both Jules and I thought, oh, that's interesting. We've never had anything like that before. So we thought we'd make contact with you and get you on the show to tell us all about it. So why don't we kick off with you telling us a little bit about James. Tell us a little bit about your background and then what it is you do and what inspired you to do it.
Okay, well, first off, I actually have a full-time job at the Ironworks Gate Company.
Right.
And I build gates and railings. That's my full-time job.
Right.
But that's my hobby, and so then I got into like Robot Wars at a very young age.
Right.
Do you remember Robot Wars at all?
Yeah, I do. Combat robots and stuff like that, wasn't it? And
that's right. Yeah.
And trucks that rammed each other and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So while I was working, my boss said, you've got your workshop, your workspace and all that. So why don't you go build one? So that's how I got into it. So I started building a robot. Me and my fiance, we go to the live events across the UK at Extreme Robots. And so that's how I started doing the robot side of things.
Right.
Because with that, you've got to learn everything. You've got like all the electronics you got to learn.
Yeah.
Obviously engineering as well. You got to learn that to try and get it all together. And then you finally you get like a few safety checks at the event.
Right.
And then you go to the arena, and that's where it all happens, all fights and that.
Right.
So I built the sorry.
No, I was going to say. So you built a robot. Did you actually ever get to compete in Robot Wars?
I literally just missed it. I missed it by one season.
Right.
Because there was 11 seasons in total.
Right.
And me and my fiance was just finishing the robot. We had it all dialed in. We'd been to a live event, tested it at the live event. We then came back and thought, right, we're ready to compete now. Right. And all of a sudden, the BBC announced that they cancelled it. Uh-huh. So I never had a chance.
Typical. So what did you do with the robot?
We still have it. We still compete across the UK.
Right.
Obviously not currently. Hopefully that will all start up again soon.
Right.
And that's where we go. We go Cheltenham, Gloucestershire, Manchester.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what got you into this was building combat robots. So what did you move on to from there?
I then moved on to Brum, which I've got the original.
I see you've got James is wearing a fleece which says Brum Crew. So first of all, for those of us that are old and decrepit like me, tell us what Brum is.
So Brum is based around a 1920s Austin chummy. He was designed by Bob Burke, who worked for the company Ragdoll Productions, who did the filming of Brum.
And Brum's a kids' TV program, yeah? That's
right, yeah. It's a kids program from the 90s.
Right.
And then it moved on to the early 2000s.
Right.
But he's a animatronic car.
Right.
So he has like up and down movement with pneumatics. That's how he operates.
Right.
And all the electronics moves his eyes and stuff.
Wow.
But yeah, he's say Ragdoll Production was the producer of the show.
Right.
And it taught kids basically it was all like the wrongs and rights of things. That's
Right, okay.
what I could describe it as.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's basically teach kids like what's the word? It wasn't like they had the children like with a wheelchair,
Right.
and he was racing a go-kart.
Right.
So they basically taught kids, you can do anything, even with a disability. You can still do things in life and achieve it.
Okay.
That's what Brum was about, and you can, you'll tag along and save the day.
Okay.
There might be some bank robbers or something, and they save the bank robber.
Right. Okay. Okay. So it's a little vintage car, but it's an animatronic car.
That's great.
And that kind of inspired you. And I believe you've been working on a version of that as well, have you not?
That's right, yes. I'm building a replica of him.
Right.
Because believe it or not, it's his 30th anniversary this year.
Right.
So that's on the 26th of September, his anniversary.
Right.
So I thought, I've got the position where I can build him. So I have started building one. I've built the body, so the body's all done. It still needs fiberglass in.
Right.
I've got the chassis. And hopefully this Saturday, I will be getting his front suspension working up and down through the pneumatic valves. Also, the back end of Brum, he uses wheelchair motors.
Right.
That I've customised onto a special bracket at the back where it can pivot up and down.
Right. Okay.
And I've built some custom airbags for him. And when those airbags blow up, they do the up and down, side to side movement like it does.
It's a bit like the American custom muscle car things that they do, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just
if you've ever seen that, in America, it's a big thing about custom cars where they make them bounce up and down and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen them flip over before.
Yeah. Okay. So you're working on this replica of Brum, and it sounds to me like there's a lot of different skill sets involved here.
Yes.
There's straightforward engineering, if there is such a thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's mechanics and servos, and then also you've also got some electronics in there as well, presumably.
Yeah. I'm lucky because I've got a sponsor. Me and my fiance, we've got a sponsor who provides us the speed controllers for Griffalo, which is our combat robot.
Right.
And they're sponsoring us on this project for the speed controllers.
Right.
And he's going to be running on like 6S lipos, which is 22 volts.
Right.
So there's quite a lot of into it. And also I'm new to pneumatics. I've never done pneumatics before.
Right.
So with me is I try to learn it on the job. And, it's the only way you're going to learn.
Absolutely. I mean, and I love that. I love that you're doing that. I love that you're taking on something and just giving it a go and learning as you go along. Because in my experience, that really is how most of us learn things, is by trial and error, isn't it? And we have a go at it. And we might have someone that we can ask occasionally. And these days, you can also go onto YouTube and find things that people explain. And I know you have your own YouTube channel as well, don't you?
That's right, yeah. I've been building bits and bobs on, advertise on YouTube.
Okay.
I do a lot of research into like the past programs of like trying to find like the actual object that say, like, for instance, I recently found the ragdoll boat from Rosie and Jim.
Oh, Rosie and Jim. I remember Rosie and Jim when my kids were little. So
that boat.
You found that boat, what, the original one from the program?
The original boat, I managed to find it. It was hidden from public view for over 15 years.
Right.
And I've managed to find it. I'm in contact with the owner now, which is great.
Right.
Because I'm currently building a duck, an animatronic duck for a customer.
As you would.
Yeah, as you would.
An animatronic duck. I want one.
A duck from the show.
Right.
Yeah, it's in fiberglass state at the minute.
Okay, so you're building that at the moment, and what does the duck do?
Well, the duck, it's all got, well, you will have all the electronics inside him, like using servos. His head spins around.
Right.
His beak moves.
Right.
And his eyes move from side to side.
Wow.
As well as his wings, it flaps up and down really quickly. So I've got to do all that in, I don't know how big, probably about 12 inches big.
Right, okay.
That's how I got to get all that in there to get him working.
Okay. And what does the client want the animatronic duck for?
He just wants it for himself.
Right,
it's such nostalgia now with children's TV.
Yeah.
People just want to try and find it, or, they want that, what they saw on TV.
Yeah, sure. So there's a kind of retro market for what people grew up with watching and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's huge now. It's really exploded now. It's just massive.
I just want to come back to the ragdoll boat as well, from Rosie and Jim. You managed to track it down. Is that privately owned?
Yes, it is privately owned, yes. Yeah. I will be meeting up with him soon,
right?
When I've done Duck, because we're going to do a little YouTube video, doing like Duck with the boat.
Right, okay.
And I've got 2 of the original cast members coming as well. Rebecca Newgan, who was Rosie's puppeteer. Right. And Neil Brewer, who was the last presenter on the show.
Right, okay. Fantastic. I love all this. It's just so quirky and different to anything we've ever talked about. So
yeah, you've got to be quirky.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course you have, and I love it. So there's some of the things that you've worked on, and as you said, you kind of following your nose with this and just seeing how it works out. Does it get frustrating from time to time when you can't make something work?
I always try to make it work. It may take longer, but I do try. Like currently at the stake with Brum,
right?
Where his airbags got to move from side to side, I've also got to make a plate that puts that on. But also, that plate is the seat pan, so I've got to get both things right: the seat pan and his height. And that's Hopefully, I get that sorted out on Saturday.
Okay, cool. It's brilliant, and I love what you do. And I mean, that whole market of props and animations and animatrons and something is a huge market these days, isn't it? I mean, there's lots of stuff that happens. If you think, like exhibition spaces and museums, and as well as theme parks, all kind of employ that kind of technology now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's gone really big now.
Yeah, absolutely. So for someone like you, I mean, do you aspire to move on to, creating animatronic dinosaurs and stuff like that?
Yeah, not so much dinosaurs. I've never really been that much into dinosaurs.
Right, okay.
But my next plan after Brum is when I need to get myself a little workshop for my own.
Right.
Because I currently work at the workshops, if you know what I mean, where I work.
Yeah, sure.
So my next plan is to build a Dalek. That's
a Dalek?
what I would like to do. Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna impress you now, James. When I was 6, which was a long time ago, I won a Dalek in a competition.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and it was a full-size Dalek as well.
Yeah.
It was cardboard, but it was a full-size Dalek, and I could actually get in it and do exterminate. But you're going to build a Dalek that moves, presumably.
That's right, moves. Well, the original ones, obviously the people was inside it, and they had the little space cutout, and they're on like caster wheels underneath.
Right.
And that's how they scuttled across the set.
Yeah.
And they had the eye that was like hand pulled up and down with the eye.
Right.
And you can obviously tilt the head at the top as well.
Right. So you're going to build a Dalek, and how are you going to make it work? Are you going to have a little man inside it, or are you going to make it automated?
I might do both. I might use wheelchair motors again, but also me inside it as well.
Right. Okay.
Just doing something a bit different.
Right. Okay. Cool. So when do you think you're going to start work on that?
When I get a workshop.
Right. Okay. And where are you based, James? Are you
I'm
in Manchester?
Wiltshire.
Wiltshire. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Fantastic. So you're looking for a workshop. So if anybody out there whereabouts in Wiltshire are you roughly?
We're in Malmesbury, the oldest borough apparently.
Right. So anyone in that area of Wiltshire that's got a workshop that James can use, let us know, and we'll put you in touch.
Yeah, brilliant.
James has got a YouTube site where he shows a lot of the work he's doing and goes through some of the stuff he's doing. And we've put a link to that YouTube site on the radio website. So if you go into Kent Business Radio, you can see the link and you can follow it and have a look at James's YouTube site. James, thank you so much for joining us on the Business Monk Show. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. We love what you're doing. It's really different and quirky. Keep on doing it. And I'll tell you what, once you've built the Dalek, let me know because I want to see that.
Yes, I will, definitely.
All right, mate. All right. Thanks ever so much, James. Take care and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Flexible training solutions for the glass, glazing and wider...
Welcome back. That was the fabulous, quirky, different Mr. James Griffiths, prop maker. I hadn't come across Brum.
You see, I remember that, like sort of curled up on the sofa with my kids.
Right.
But I can't remember which one of my 3 kids it was. So, did he say what year it was?
No, he didn't.
It was 80s, I've got a few.
I think it was the 80s, 90s, primarily.
What creative chap.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's so into it. And he tracked down, as he mentioned in the interview, the Jim and Rosie ragdoll boat. And found the guy that owned it.
And that brought back memories, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, no, brilliant. It's just so different and quirky. I just thought it was really interesting.
And of course, welding. I mean, you know, these sort of jobs, the creative jobs. We need these people, don't we? You know, you don't really find anyone doing a welding apprenticeship or anything, do you? But we need it.
Absolutely. But what's so interesting, and James is entirely self-taught for the other stuff.
Is he?
Is with that kind of model making, so much of it now is software, and it's a combination of software and hydraulics, hydraulic engineering, mechanical engineering, and it's all self-taught, and it's really brilliant and
but
clever.
How does the software come into it then?
Well, for the electronics, you know, for making it move and stuff like that.
Of course.
You know, and of course, he one of his big starting points was building robots for combat robots, so that's all software driven. Yeah. You know, because they're remote controlled.
Do you know where he lives? He's down in Somerset, is he?
Wiltshire. Yeah.
Wiltshire. Okay.
Malmesbury. Yeah.
Oh, we know him very well.
The oldest borough.